Welcome to the worst nightmare of all. Reality.
Explore the lesser-known stories of our unknown world. Join the pursuit of the paranormal with Ash and Greg.
Good evening, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. Greg, hooray. Happy Tuesday. How are you?
Yeah, it's all right. It's quite warm, but it's wet at the same time.
Oh, it's cold up here today.
Is it? It's really warm today. Had the aircon on in the car. But I did see something very strange earlier. Where I live, we're right by Bryce, as you know. Bryce Norton, RAF base. And I was walking the dogs, walking back from like this sort of football pitch area. And it's not unusual to see cargo planes like the A400M and those, I don't know the names of the others, but those ones, those sort of standard military carrier plane. Anyway, normally there's a flight path, and they either come in from one end of Bryce or they come in sort of over my house, sort of way in the other direction. So, and basically, I looked down and I saw a plane, which was cool, but it was going at some speed, and it looked to me from the angle I was at, it looked like it was about 20 foot off the top of the houses. It was super low, which is quite unusual for them to be that low. And it was going in a completely different direction, like at a tangent to the normal ones. And it started turning. And then I must have looked down at one of the dogs, looked back, and I couldn't see it. I was thinking, oh my God, I wonder if that's gone down. And I was waiting for plumes of smoke or a crash. Didn't come, never saw the plane again. I don't know what that was all about. There's loads of planes circling, which there normally is, and it could have been one of the ones that I saw a few minutes later, but I've no idea. But to see it go in a particular direction, sort of at an absolute 90-degree angle to where they normally go, it was a bit strange to see. So it stuck in my head for that reason, and then I just walked home and haven't thought about it since.
Weird. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not unusual to see a plane that low in my area, but in that direction, that's a very unusual direction. And I know that they have certain limits on where they can fly and how low they can fly. But yeah, so that was quite a weird one. And I was just waiting for this plume of smoke to go up. So I don't know why I was thinking that, but it just looked so low and so fast. It was going fast. Yeah. I haven't heard anything on the news or anything. Nothing on the local housing estate Facebook page saying, whoever's playing that is in the back garden, can you come and get it, please?
I think those crashes like so inconsiderate. We have to close our windows and take our washing in because there's flames in the sky.
I love this. It was funny. I've got a story about that. Our next door neighbours moved in, like around the time we did, and we were chatting to them one day, and they were like, "Can you hear that buzzing noise all the time?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, there's like a humming noise all the time, or on and off throughout the day as well." And it's the fans of the planes and everything at Bryce Norton, and we're a few miles away, but obviously it's still loud. I was like, "Yeah, you'll hear that all the time." She's like, "Oh, didn't know that." It's like, you wait till you see the planes come flying over, then that'll be a marvel to you. But they, it's surprising how quick you get used to the sounds. I don't even hear the planes anymore. But
yeah, my partner grew up in Ravenshaw, like literally on the boundary fence to Manchester Airport.
okay,
like, literally
cool.
right next to it, and the planes there. It's literally just above the houses. The houses
So cool.
shake and everything. Like I say, just get used to.
Yeah,
Just get used to it. It's just background noise once you live there so long.
it's the especially the good ones. You can tell when there's a different type of plane coming in to Bryce Norton. You can tell the sound difference, which is weird. Get so used to this drone of a certain type of plane that the B-52 bombers came over the weekend, like a big V-winged plane, like
Nice.
and they like this high-pitched screeching sound as they go over. And then we had the jets. I sent you the video of the jets refueling over Whitney. That was quite cool. 'Cause it's Fairford Air Tattoo, which is literally just down the road from us as well. Anyway, that's enough about my plane spotting.
No, it's very, very lucky to live.
Yeah. And it's surprising how people who don't live near an airbase or whatever, because it's very active at Bryce, obviously at the moment as well, and you don't really hear it. You don't hear it. It's weird. But I've always got my eyes open. Anyway,
so what are we going to be talking about tonight?
So over the last couple of weeks, we've been sending some links to each other about sort of strange stuff that comes up on the news headlines, and we thought we'd have a bit of a strange news episode, a weird news, because there's a lot going to be happening over the coming weeks in the UFO world. So
there's quite a lot of I don't want to say serious, but like probably is the right word. So some of the episodes we've got lined up, we're going to be quite in depth, quite maybe technical, going into detail about some of this stuff that's coming up. So it's going to be more of a bit of a light-hearted. Have a look at some real stories that have been reported recently, just to get us ready for what's to come. And this is like a weird news roundup thing, but we had something weird happen ourselves on Sunday. A bit of a weird coincidence.
Yeah, we did, and it wasn't. And anybody who saw the post on Facebook shortly afterwards probably is going, "That's bullshit." Go on then, explain what happened.
So we recently relaunched the Patreon, or launched the Patreon, and we were recording some bonus episodes. So with Patreon, we don't really talk too much about our Patreon, but
No,
we have sort of extra content on there. So nothing. So we still do all the normal shows we do on here. On the Patreon, we do sort of extended episodes, bonus content, and some bonus episodes, and sometimes talk about stuff that we don't usually cover in the normal episodes. So on Sunday, we started doing an episode about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And we had Jeremiah Dorff from What If They're Wrong podcast joining us. And the first topic we were talking about was the moon landings, the conspiracies, the claiming it's a hoax. And went through all the evidence for and against each of the topics. Fun episode. That's out now on Patreon.
Yep.
Patreon.com/Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast if you want to go listen to that. And support us as well while you're there.
There is a 10-minute preview as well for everybody to have a listen to if you're not a member, just to see what kind of stuff we talk about.
Yep, for the full 1 hour 15 episode, whatever it is. Plus, there's already quite a bit of exclusive content on there already. So we did the episode, recorded it, edited it, published it. Didn't make anything about it. It's just we were talking about the moon landing hoaxes. And then I was just later on, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I'm sure it was. I knew. I was like, it was July we went to the moon. So I wonder what date it was the first time we went. And the day wasn't the day we landed. It's the day we took off to get to the moon. They had Apollo 11 launched. Was that exact day?
That's
literally
mad,
the day we were talking about it. I sent it to Greg, like a screenshot of the thing. I was like, "Did you know this was today?"
Yeah, I know.
Right, nope.
Didn't have a clue. We were going to talk. It was one of many topics we were going to talk of that day, but we ended up speaking the whole time. And none of the three of us made any connection to the fact we don't even mention it on the podcast episode. Nothing about it until afterwards. It's like, what? That's very
just like a day we were all free. Jeremiah was free.
Yeah.
And we just recorded it, published it.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the day that we were talking about, the exact day that the rockets Apollo 11 took off to go to the moon.
And we were talking about rockets exploding on the launch pad and all sorts, so we still didn't.
Yeah. It's just a bit weird.
So that was 16th of July 1969. So I will remember that now going forward.
In fact, during the episode, we were talking about coincidences, and we were talking about how to have something that has so many coincidences, it can't be coincidence anymore. Like it's got to be, like it can't be coincidences. Then that was a big coincidence that we recorded and published that episode on that day, just very randomly.
Yeah, and Ash was like, "Did you plan this?" I was like, I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know it was in July. To be fair, I'll be completely honest. I had no clue.
So I only had like July 1969. I was like, I wonder what date it was. And then it was the day. I was googling what day was it, and it's like today, July 18th.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't believe it. Still, it's wild. So anyway,
so I'd start with.
Yeah. So join us on Patreon. You can get the link from our page and our story and all that kind of stuff. All the good stuff. You don't even need to. You can start off on the lowest tier, and you'll get early access stuff, and then the higher up you go, the more stuff you get. So actually, a big shout out to some people on the podcast that are part of the Patreon so far. We'll drip feed the names so we don't just spurt off everybody's names at once. But a big shout to Nick, forever joining us on all different platforms. Nick, you're a legend.
He is. You are.
Yeah. It'd be good to see you again in October for the Minicon.
Yep, definitely.
As long as everybody's got tickets. So, do I need to get a ticket?
Do you need to get a ticket? Not decided yet. I might. Shall I charge you for a table?
No.
So I'm charging myself anyway. If I did do that. No, you don't pay, Greg.
See, I've done it on the podcast, so can't be edited out or anything like that. Or you'll just edit it and go, yes, you have to pay. So big shout to Nick. Hopefully see you again there, Nick. Mike Earl. Paramike on socials. Also suggesting that if he comes on any of the exclusive episodes that he gets some kind of kickback from the money he's putting in.
A cut.
Cut. So cheers, Mike. And we've got Kelly. Thank you, Kelly, for supporting the show as always. Staunch. Oh, I'll tell you what. One thing we haven't done for a while. If people really wanted to support the show, they don't have to subscribe. Obviously, it's brilliant if people do, and we love
appreciated.
That. It is much appreciated. You can share the show. That'd be really cool. Invite all your friends to the Facebook page. That'd be really cool. On the group, on the Facebook page. So we've got nearly a couple of thousand followers on the Facebook page. On Instagram, we've got over 1,000 followers. So try if the smallest amount really helps us. Sharing stuff really helps us. And also, if you're on the podcast apps, we've got 30 odd feedbacks on Spotify, and we're at like 4.5 out of 5. So I'd say we're doing pretty good there. But Apple Podcasts, we haven't had a review for ages, and that really helps us go up the rankings. We get like a Chartable Digest update on a daily or every few days, and we can see where we're charting around places. And for example, one came through this evening, actually, Ash, and it said, I'll find it now. Where's that? That'll be, I don't even know anymore. Here we go. Right. So we're in 15 different charts around the world.
Nice.
Currently. And one of our popular episodes at the moment is the exobiospheric organisms.
Yeah.
The alien bodies crash retrieval. That is currently, or certainly was when they sent the email, we were number 27 in the social sciences in the Netherlands. We're currently, haunted pub crawl stuff is number 30 in Belgium, Apple Podcasts. So the United States is a tougher one to crack, but we're up there. We're getting there. We're getting there. So if anybody can write a review, even if you give us a 1-star review, it doesn't matter, because we'll slate you on a future podcast episode like we've done on previous guests.
Yeah.
But it all helps algorithms. And unfortunately, social media is all about algorithms. So if you can invite people, share stuff, that really, and that's free. Yeah, that's free. And like I said, non-Patreon subscriber or people who don't subscribe to Patreon will still get the normal episodes for free. You just get that little bit more.
True that.
Whew. We haven't done sort of a push on all that kind of stuff for a while. So
sorry that came from.
I know. Sorry, everybody. You probably just skipped through it. So if you've got to this point, you've missed all the quiz show. If you've just skipped through everything like that. So weird news, Ash.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll actually, because obviously I sent you a load of links that I'd found.
Yep.
I wanted to first not cover any of these off straight away. Okay. It's one that you sent me the other day.
Yep.
And I think my immediate reply to it was, "What a load of shite."
Probably.
It's on a website called UAP Max.
Yep.
And this guy, or whoever it is, there's no like names. Just says by editor chief. It's a bit of a weird name. That's his real name.
Yeah.
And basically saying that President Biden has met aliens. They're here.
I remember that one.
They're not friendly. And then I saw it first when you sent it me. I was just like, wow, all shite.
Yeah.
And then I've seen it on Twitter since. People talking about it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I think there's even a Twitter account for UAP Max, I think.
It might have been where I got some of it.
Yes, that guy is claiming that his sources have told him that President Biden has met aliens and that it's going to be disclosed soon that they're here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like you say, you put absolute shite. Anonymous sources. Again. Yeah. I saw it and I thought, I know who's going to like this one. I think I put LOL, thought you would like it.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not when you put that.
I was being sarcastic. Good. Yeah. Because I know how you react to UAP stories, and this was right at the top. He's commander-in-chief, isn't he, Biden? So he's head of the US Armed Forces, which is scary when you see how he behaves in public. But, so you're thinking the story's not true?
Well, so some of this, a lot of it has very similar tones about always being here.
Yeah.
Apparently, we refer to them as Ganzi, so they are aliens that are on our planet, well, from another part of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And the facts about Ganzi are they are not friendly, but are not necessarily malevolent either, unless you get in their way.
Fair enough.
We know Earth is a waypoint for something bigger, but we'd never known what that is. The Ganzi deal with us because they're not here to colonize and have a directive to leave us alone unless we mess with their goals.
Okay.
They create only technology that is used in our oceans, skies, and atmosphere that can be created from Earth's elements, from technological methods we don't understand. They are able to manipulate matter in ways that we cannot.
Okay.
The Earth is important to them, but humanity is not. So they don't care about us, they only care about the planet.
Mm-hmm.
They do not like us playing with nuclear power in a weaponized form. Any attempt to use nukes will be met with a total and complete shutdown of human society. Again, the Earth is important. The little bugs on the surface are not.
Okay.
If we mess with what they're doing, we will cease to exist. We do not know what they are doing, but they've been doing it for a very long time. The reason they lose probes and even manned vehicles, i.e. crashed ships or whatever you want to call them, is because they're unable to use technology past a couple hundred years out of our timeline. So I don't know who polices that, but that's why they crash apparently, because they're using technology beyond our timeline.
Okay.
They can manipulate DNA, increase lifespan indefinitely, cure or prevent any disease, and the beings themselves are able to transfer consciousness from one body to another. There's a supposition that they can do this to humans. They've experimented on us and we don't know why. They will not hesitate to kill humans if it suits them. Life is all around us. These beings are able to manipulate high dimensions and can be anywhere at any time and any place they want to be. They could be right next to us as we're speaking. They have no desire to interact with humans. Again, if we'd all died or fell off the earth, they wouldn't be bothered. They're going to be here, and if we play with anything that would cause global harm, that would cause Earth to become unusable, then they won't hesitate to stop us without any care whatsoever. This is why they have told the governments that should they attempt large-scale nuclear conflict, things will not go well. And they have shared some information out of necessity. Guys, I'd say some of that's quite creative. Some of it's rehashed old stuff that wherever he's pulled this out from his arse.
It's rewording a lot of things. Like people always say about the UAPs have been spotted over nuclear installations. That's quite a common thing. So that's sort of that one. The fact that they don't care about us, but they're not harmful to us, so kind of they just ignore us, kind of thing. It all kind of makes sense, but
it does. He ends the article that as long as this congressional hearing that's coming up next week occurs, everything he has said here will be revealed on the world stage in colour, in documents, and on video. So he's basically saying that next week, everything he just said will be proven. So when it doesn't, where's he gonna go from there?
Like most of Twitter predictions, and it doesn't quite happen.
And then the very, very last line is, he'll continue to post articles, sign up for an account, and he'll send you a note.
Oh.
So
maybe we should.
Nah. Sounds a bit like data mining.
It's interesting because he also puts on he mentions David Grush on there. He says, at the end of the day, I know what you know. I will get to that shortly too as well. To David Grush, you have the biggest set of balls I've ever seen. You took disclosure ahead probably 20 years or more. You forced the hands of the power elite and rank and file government reps and made them take stock. You got under the umbrella itching to speak up, the courage and fortitude to start dropping the UFO secrets and the fact we are not alone. Well, I don't know if I agree with bringing it forward 20 years, because we've been on a bit of a path this last couple of years anyway, haven't we? So
So no shite, but we shall see if all this comes true. Now it'll eat my words, because the world will change if.
But you see a lot of people on Twitter talking about this next round of hearings and all the stuff that's coming out about government legislation, about basically releasing loads of documents, and it just seems that's a bit wild.
For sure.
Because it's one thing to admit that there's strange things in the sky, which they have done now. There's weird things in the sky, and we got these task force. It's another thing to say that they don't, like, there's no respect for us, that they take us, abductions, and some of the stories you hear. I mean, that's a whole nother thing from saying there these weird lights in the sky and these spheres around the world, these little balls and these orbs, to go in to fool everything.
Yeah, so that's that, I guess.
Yeah,
we shall see. We'll put a line under that until next Wednesday, I guess, when the hearings are due to take place.
Sounds good. And where Ash mentioned about all the serious stuff coming up in the next few episodes, the hearings are part of that, along with some other bits. So
yeah, and we'll be out Thursday or Friday with our breakdown of the hearings with our good friend Dave Smethurst.
Yes, can't wait. Dave is a legend to talk to. He really is. Love it. Right. So I sent you another link as well. And the headline is Loch Ness Monster Hunter wins lottery after capturing video of obvious creature. Now, this was posted on MSN News, so take of that what you will. And there is a video from the 4th of July, around 8 a.m, of something in a body of water moving. There is a boat or something that goes past it. To say it's obviously a creature and a monster and is a bit of a stretch, I'll be honest, because you don't actually see it. But you do see ripples as though something is breaking the tension of the surface of the water. So he goes, a Nessie hunter said he's won the lottery when he caught footage appearing to show the mythical monster stalking a boat in its loch home. I'm not sure how to pronounce his first name or his last name, to be completely honest.
That's a name and a half.
Yeah. I would say it's Ian O'Fadigan.
I think it's Owen.
Yeah, there probably would be Owen, wouldn't it? Owen O'Fadigan spotted a mysterious presence on Tuesday whilst watching the water online, like you do. So this is off one of those sort of like webcams around the world that you can watch. The footage shows something emerging from the loch and moving a short distance north before it dived back down as the boat approached. The hump then follows the boat north for 2 minutes before it breaks away, moves to the centre of the loch and disappears. A few seconds later, it resurfaces near the boat, revealing what Owen described as the definite black shape of a hump. 4-minute sighting was recorded at Shore Lodges near Fort Augustus on the loch's southern shore, where Visit Inverness Loch Ness maintains a webcam. Now, I've watched the video, and weirdly, the video is only a minute long.
But for 4 minutes he was watching it for. And it is right near to that boat, so you think...
Is it near to the boat, though? Because the angle it's at, it's quite difficult to see.
Yeah, I guess there's not much perspective to gauge for sure. But it passes by, like, sort of in the background behind it.
Yeah.
Is it the same? This the same person? Because we did the live stream where we had a Nessie sighting, very similar. So it's not the same one. It was a different one. Was it different?
No, different one. Because this is the 4th of July, so this is the last couple of weeks.
Was it the same guy though? Can you remember his name?
I don't think he is the same. I don't
remember that name. Yeah. I can say I don't remember that name.
He does say this picture belongs in any exhibition to do a Loch Ness monster. It's quite large and throwing up a lot of water, and its wake is nearly as big as the boat. 15 or 20 feet would not be an over-exaggeration. I immediately knew when it first emerged and began to move that it's no large fish. Fish do not have wakes. Maybe when they die, they do.
That's terrible.
That was terrible. But weirdly, this year marks the 90th anniversary of the famous sighting by Audie McKay in 1933, which catapulted Loch Ness into the hearts and minds of the world. Last month, a tourist visiting Loch Ness claimed he'd spotted a mysterious 65-foot-long shape moving through the water. Etienne Camel was visiting the famous lake with his wife Elaine. That's the one that we spoke about, I believe.
Can't remember.
No.
I mean, it's a little bit interesting. He says he's won the lottery with this footage. I mean, I would rather win the lottery than have this footage. To be honest,
Yeah.
I mean, it shows something in the water. You think the people on the would not, the boat could be near it. Would they have noticed something as it comes up back up towards the boat?
Yeah,
because a lot of people do watch these webcams and spend hours and hours.
Yeah,
watching the Loch Ness. I mean, I've done it myself. Watching webcams of the Loch Ness over the years, trying to see something. And usually the footage is that bad and grainy that even if you saw something, you wouldn't see anything. And then, I mean, when I was used to watch it, I didn't have anything to record it with anyway. So I think it's just a live stream. I don't think it's recorded anyway. So I was like, oh, I saw something. Well, I can't prove it or even show anyone because it's gone now. But I mean, yeah, it's something. I think that's always going to be one of them enigmas. Like I say, 90 years.
Yeah,
it's now been a thing. And I love Loch Ness. I love going
it's
up
very
there.
it's a captivating and sort of enchanting story, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's real famous. Like lots of different countries talk about like their Loch Ness monster and all stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I plan to go up again this year. Hopefully, at some point.
Yeah,
holiday to Scotland, and taking Loch Ness up in Inverness again.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, my opinions on this: winning the lottery is quite a big stretch as to excitement. Like you say, he's definitely caught something, but in my eyes, because you can't tell what it is, or the size of it, really, it's
ripples on a lake.
That's essentially it. Ripples on a lake.
It's like lights in the sky. Like
yeah,
you can't really tell what it is, and on its own, it's not really anything. Someone else was there and saw something, and then he was also on the webcam saw by somebody else. Then you'd start to have something, but with just that, it's fairly useless.
Yeah, cool. So that's a Loch Ness that's been in the news the last couple of weeks.
And moving on, so we've had UFOs, we've had a lake monster. Let's move on to ghosts briefly, I guess, with this story. And this was on Sky.com yesterday on Sky News. And the headline kind of says it all, to be honest.
It does.
But the headline is Singer divorces devilishly handsome ghost of a Victorian soldier after less than a year. So there's quite a lot to unpack just in the headline.
I'm just in the next line of where this person's from.
I was going to mention that one.
Fucking hell.
So Brocardi, a songwriter and performer from near to Greg in Oxfordshire, has said the spirit became increasingly possessive after their wedding and switched between being warm and intense and threatening. So to break that down, reading this story for the first time pretty much, he got married a year ago to a ghost.
As you do.
And now she's divorced the ghost of a Victorian soldier.
I mean, where do you start with it all? I mean, how do you even get married to a ghost?
Well, she met him, the ghost, who goes by the name of Eduardo, when he burst into her bedroom one dark and stormy night. Their spirited love affair hit the headlines when Brocardi announced that they were to marry in a chapel on Halloween last year.
Oh, shit. Go on. I'll have to give you some more info in a minute.
Do you know her?
No, I don't.
She posted a video of the ceremony on Instagram where she was seen wearing all black with an empty space where invisible Eduardo was said to have been standing. However, I try not to laugh here because shortly after they married, Brocardi said she was angry that her husband got too drunk on their honeymoon in Barry Island in Wales.
Barry Island. Okay, now. So, I've just done a quick Google search for where in Oxfordshire, because obviously Oxfordshire is a fairly big place. Whitney.
Is she actually from Whitney?
Apparently so. So, yeah. Brocade, real name Elena Salter, is not ignoring the pandemic. This is some story from a couple of years ago. She tackled it head on, releasing her hard-hitting COVID referencing Christmas song, Waiting for January, recorded at home in Whitney. The fuck? I don't recognise her. Okay, now.
So I guess the cynical side of me, beyond trying not to take the mick a little bit, she is a performer, a singer. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, and it just shouts publicity.
Yeah,
bit of a story that's obviously made the headlines in national newspapers, local media. It's probably just got more followers.
Yeah. Further down on that story, Ash, there is an Instagram post with a video showing Brocade and Eduardo, the wedding and the vows. The full videos on YouTube, apparently. Wow.
So yeah.
So what? Yeah. So it's quite sad news that they've split up. Obviously.
Less than a year.
It also, I've just read a bit more of this story, and I don't mean to laugh about it because somebody's obviously finding it quite serious. Brocade claims a soldier's crush on Marilyn Monroe. She was at the wedding.
Maybe she has got connections in the spirit celebrity world.
She claims the soldier would disappear for days before returning smelling of Chanel No. 5, the fragrance which had been Monroe's favourite perfume.
Oh, no.
The singer claims setting boundaries infuriated Eduardo, and he allegedly started to haunt her with the sound of a screaming baby. She said she returned to the chapel where they married in order to exorcise him from her mind. She announced the split in her song Just Another Anthem.
So, yeah, a tragic love story of a cheating ghost husband. I mean, someone could cheat on you. I mean, Marilyn Monroe, like, would you give him a pass? Just because, like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't know. That's a bit of a...
Then you have, like, your celebrity list, like, 5 people you're allowed to, if you had the chance to. It's always, like, the hot celebrities and stuff.
I don't know if
Marilyn Monroe. If it's, I mean, depends how. I mean, I'm not sure how she was when she died, but if she was young.
She was fairly young, yeah.
Was she?
So
Ghost is probably young.
Because there are theories, because she died of an overdose, I believe. Oh, I probably just massacred that.
I know the name, but I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, my understanding was as well that we talked about JFK, or have spoken about JFK and the UFO sort of thing. Apparently, she was going to she knew more about UFOs as well than they allowed her to say.
Ah, it is all connected.
Yeah. Whether or not it's true, I don't know. But... So, interesting one. It's always sad to see a breakup, but it sounds like irreconcilable differences.
For sure.
So my next one is it's so funny because you send the links over to each other, and it's got almost like the headline as the link title. So this one is tourist accidentally captures floating UFO while taking a selfie on the sand dunes of Bilbao in Mexico's Coahuila state. Ramiro Navarro took a selfie that captured a mysterious saucer-like object soaring in the distance. And this is from the 10th of July. This was reported through the Daily Mirror. He didn't notice the mysterious object in the background of his photo for several weeks. He took the snap while visiting the dunes. He said a few weeks ago, when he posted this, I expect, a few weeks ago, when I went to the Bilbao dunes, what do you think? They saw me and did not take me away. A suspected alien aircraft is seen on the horizon in the background. However, before you start, so we talk about multiple witnesses. One local said, UFO, of course. Diane commented, here where I live, we also saw it. So somebody else saw it at the same time. So another person wrote, I know people nearby who saw it at a local dam several times already. Yeah. So, I mean, the picture is super ambiguous. You can't even really tell what's even in the photo. But
I mean, what's interesting? Well, what is not interesting? It doesn't even show the original photo. It says that it was in the background of a selfie.
Yeah.
But the only photo we have is a zoomed in, pixelated image of the craft, and not actually the photo of the guy taking the picture.
No, very strange. I'm just on that while we're okay. I will send it to you now, Ash.
Oh, good.
I've got it. Right, here we go. And anybody can Google these. Google the guy's name. Ramiro Navarro.
Right, okay. Ugh, it doesn't do much difference to the original photo. And it's, what gets me is that these articles make national and international. I mean, this is in Mexico, and we got it in the UK's national media. And it's literally like a blurry photo of a fly in someone on the beach. Like, that's literally all this picture is.
Yeah.
But it makes the papers.
Yes, I got a different one from Coast to Coast AM, actually. It's, again, looks like a slightly better picture. Here we go. Coast to Coast AM is always a good... it's weird, because Coast to Coast AM is where I originally saw the footage of Anthony Woods and the UFO stuff from back in the late 90s through UFO magazine and the whole UFO Society, which is weird because I used to converse with a guy from the Hull UFO Society randomly. I can't remember the guy's name now. We had emails. He was like, come on up and stay with us. We'll go sky watching. And I never did. And that was like 20 odd years ago, Ash. How weird's that?
It wasn't Chris, was it?
No, I can't think of the guy's name. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. I can't think. I'll have to Google it because it'd be interesting to touch base considering what we do now.
But ask Chris, because he big part of your whole society for years from being a teenager, really. So he'll know. He'll probably know who if it's one of his lot.
So blurry as always. Fly photo of a UFO in the background, taken on a potato camera.
Yeah. Coincidentally, with this, the Mirror, I am working with a Mirror journalist at the minute to hopefully get some proper articles in.
Super.
Rather than these shitty ones.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't help other reporters that work for the Mirror, but yeah.
Okay. Look forward to...
We shall see what comes.
Awesome.
Moving on to a bit of a weird one. It's not weird after it's explained, but the headline grabbed me because all of a sudden, every person in South Korea suddenly became a year younger. They all gained a year on their life. They all, like, something magical happened, and they all became a year younger.
How's that?
Pretty weird headline. So basically, South Korea was always had, obviously every country has different years and all this stuff and different calendars, but South Korea has always classed as when you're in the womb, that they take that into account as your age. So if you're in the womb for like 9 months or whatever, you are a human. So when you're born, you are 1 year old because you've been in the womb. So whereas we start at 0 on the day that you're born, like literally this is the start of your life, I've always classed it as basically being like you're 1 when you're born, basically. And they've recently just changed the system to one that basically the rest of the world has, where you are 0 at birth, and then obviously what you 1 on your first anniversary of your birth. So everyone's just basically lost a year of their life, and they're now a year younger in South Korea.
How weird.
Not only that, there's a couple of really weird points that happen due to the way that they have their system.
Go on.
So, the Korean age system, basically you age up on the 1st of January. So on the 1st of
that's
January,
your birthday.
every year, you just get a year older. And then you're born. Which means if you're born on New Year's Eve, you'll turn 2 years old on New Year's Day. So if you've just been born, and then it goes into the 1st of January, because you're born, you'd be 1, the day that you're born. And New Year's Day, everybody ages up a year. So you'd be 2 years old on basically the first day that you're alive.
What?
So you can see how it's a little bit problematic.
Yeah.
So suppose some mad different age ranges in schools and stuff, I imagine. I don't know how it... Well, can you imagine like just getting old enough to like buy booze or go and do something, and all of a sudden you're now a year younger, and you got to wait another year before you can like go to the shop or to the pub and drink alcohol?
Yeah. Wow. That's insane. I can see that somebody said I was about to turn 30 next year under traditional Korean age system, but now I have some more time earned and I love it. This person who's 27. I was going to be 30 next year.
No, 27.
Wow. I like that. That's a good story. Good find, Ash.
Yeah, that's what that was.
It deserves a spot on this episode. Yeah.
It reminds me of a mate I used to have. I first started. Well, he lived on the same street as me growing up. He's a couple of years younger, and he used to work in a petrol station. It's like my first job when I was 18. One of my first jobs, and he used to come in, and he was only like 15 at the time.
Yeah.
He used to come in. I would sometimes let him buy some cigs if no one else was in the shop, because the legal age was 16 at the time. He'd smoked like since being a teenager, and then he was turning 16, and he's like finally able to actually buy cigs like myself, and then they put the age up to 18 for cigarettes. And he had to think, fuck's sake, I got to wait another 2 years before I can now legally buy cigarettes. So I was like, yeah, tough luck that. That just reminded me then of that happening to me.
Well, back in the 80s, Ash, you used to be able to go to a shop with a letter and buy cigarettes for your parents. Even like we're not even teenagers. So we could be single figure age and go and buy cigarettes. That's how it was back then. How things change.
Good.
How do you follow that?
Well, in fact, we've talked about Oxfordshire, so let's talk about Oxfordshire again.
Okay.
Kind of.
Kind of. Go on.
So it was reported in Daily Star this week in the UK. Obviously, Daily Star. Basically, it's about crop circles. And the place most likely to have crop circles in the UK without cheating, Greg? Where would you say?
Wiltshire.
Yep, by far.
Primarily, yeah.
By far. So since 2005, according to ukcropcircles.co.uk. What? Okay, so I'm going to go off a tangent here because this is something a little bit personal for me. Is that this data? So basically, the article is named another website that used the information from UK crop circles who do the work, who do the gathering. This same website used UFO identifiers data, and then all the newspapers referenced this website rather than us, who actually had the data and all the work. You probably remember a few months ago.
Oh, yeah.
So they've done the same with UK crop circles that call it UK. So I'm not going to talk about your website. I'm going to talk about UK crop circles. They're the one that have done the work and got all the information. So according to ukcropcircles.co.uk, there's been 380 crop circles in Wiltshire since 2005.
Wow.
So we are in the middle of crop circle season now.
Yep.
Usually starts around April time, doesn't it? When the crops start coming in.
Yeah.
So 380 definitely. Just in Wiltshire.
That's insane. And Wiltshire's not massive, but yes, I love it. If I find out there's one close to me, I'll go and try and find it. It's definitely. I don't know. I've seen Ray Santilli's video footage of crop circles, where there's two of them that spin around, and all of a sudden this crop circle appears. But then I've been inside the jellyfish one, and that was massive. I don't know how anybody would do it without being able to see it from the sky. And this is before drones are commercially available.
Yeah, they are very good. Second, so that's the place where you most likely see crop circles. Second is Hampshire. So a little bit more south towards the coast.
Yeah.
They only had 51. So they're in second place with 51. We had 380. So a massive increase. And then third was Oxfordshire. Obviously neighbouring Wiltshire.
Yeah, we're just down the road.
So, I mean, we know, let's say the vast majority of these are obviously human made. There are documentary people that go out and make them.
Yeah.
So this is over 18-year period. There's been 380 just in Wiltshire.
Yeah.
So is there lots of people doing this? Is it one group that coordinate and get them out there? And why Wiltshire? Why do you think that is?
Wiltshire, you've got places like Avebury, Stonehenge. It's quite a spiritual place. And I think that probably lends itself to the mystery of why these people are making them. And I know there are gangs that go out and make them. And to be fair, they need a pat on the back because some of the artwork is amazing, really.
I mean, it's art. It is. I mean, it is, and it's artwork.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Wiltshire is quite a mysterious place anyway. Like I say, you've got a lot of historical sites in Wiltshire. You've got Swindon as well. What more can I say? And Wiltshire is literally just down the road from me. But then just this side of the border is Whitehorse Hill, which Uffington, which is in Oxfordshire, which is historically quite a, I want to say supernatural. It's not supernatural, but like an energized sort of area. There's been lots of things happen over the years. And two of the crop circles that I've seen have been one in front of Whitehorse and one behind it. So, yeah, we're quite spiritual around here, Ash. That's why.
I mean, they look good.
That's it. Some of them look amazing, and it's a fascinating thing. I do like them. Whether or not there's anything to them being anything other than people, I don't know. But I've got loads of photographs of crops that I've taken photographs of that have like fused at a right angle, so they're not bent. Well, they kind of are, but they're actually got like the node it's forcing it to grow sideways. So it's not. I don't know. It's all weird. It's all weird. It's one of those ones that's always fascinated me, but nobody can ever give me a definitive answer as to what it is.
And it's a bit weird that it's all down south. We're looking at this top 10 list, and the nearest north I can see is Lincolnshire, which isn't that far north. It's more Midlands.
Yeah.
So there's nothing north of that. I think there's lots. I mean, Yorkshire's got lots of farms and land. Scotland has, so how come there's not people up there making them? Why is it all mainly south?
Yeah. It's a good check because you got Dorset in at number 4. Somerset. I thought Somerset would be a bit higher up, I'll be honest. But yeah, I don't know. Is it aliens? Might be some of it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to think it was.
It would. I think, definitely some. I believe that.
Yeah.
Some
It would be a shame if not.
Yeah.
That's what I'll go with. It would be a shame.
Long-lasting enigma that's been obviously always been related to E.T. and Crafts visiting us and leaving messages for us, which is it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice little messages.
It's quite a romantic thing again, isn't it? That they create all these shapes for us to look at and it means something to... Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that one.
Why one stood at the UFOs is one that's, I think this was late last night. I first saw this one. And it's a little bit annoying. It's got a bit of media coverage again today with the hacker group Anonymous coming out and saying they're going to uncover the truth about UFOs and that the US are going to keep this spacecraft and they're now going to uncover the truth. It's like, fuck off, Anonymous. Just don't jump on the bandwagon. Like, a lot of people have done a lot of work, put a lot of pressure to get us to where we are now with the government doing this. You can't now jump on the bandwagon and be like, we're gonna get disclosure. You can just fuck right off. That's what my first thought was when I saw.
It's like, where have you been?
That. Yeah.
But then you've got the famous hacker, Gary McKinnon, who claims that he has seen evidence of craft and files on US government websites and is still trying to get him over there now as extradited. And then he claims he didn't actually hack. He just went up to their PCs online, however you do it, and that they weren't even password protected. So he didn't hack anything. He just accessed it. Yeah, I did see that. It's just like, oh God, if you ever want a story to get brought to its knees, it's Anonymous coming out and doing stuff. Yeah.
I was like,
we'll see.
Fuck off.
Cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that then.
Yeah, so I quickly mentioned that one while it was very sort of in the news today.
Yeah, definitely.
Jumping on the bandwagon for me, like buddy. I'm not going to go on a rant, so I'm not even going to start. No. I'll end up going on a rant, so let's move on.
One of them that I did like that you sent me was a mysterious object that washed up on the Australian coast. Could be space junk, officials say. A cylindrical object about the size of a small car washed up on a remote Australian beach. This is from this morning, actually. Is space junk from a foreign rocket. But I saw the photo and it does look like it could be from a spacecraft or something. Yeah. It was off, discovered at Green Head, about 250 kilometres north of Perth, late on Sunday. So this is breaking news. Interestingly, they say it could be from a foreign space launch vehicle.
Yeah.
But they haven't said, well, it could be from an Indian rocket, apparently, whilst launching a satellite. And that they're pretty sure it's an upper stage engine from an Indian rocket that's used for lots of different missions. But but nobody has actually said, yes, this is what it is.
What I thought was a little bit weird, or maybe surprising, maybe for someone who doesn't have any sort of technical knowledge whatsoever. So I'm not going to pretend to be a rocket scientist and know how rockets work or anything like this. But it's got the where's that quote now? Oh yeah, so the Australian Space Agency said it was liaising with other space agencies to identify the object, which appears to be partly made of a woven material.
Oh.
So I wouldn't have expected something that's flying into space to be like a
upholstered.
Yes, that like a clothing woven. When you think of woven material, you think of like cotton, wool, something like that. Like you wouldn't think that a rocket would be made of a woven material. Actually, that's me with no none at all expertise in this.
It's the interior of the spacecraft was a velour sort of material. Yeah, it's weird that they talk.
It says it could be the upper stage engine, which so there's going to be no. I mean, maybe it's some type of insulation inside it.
Could be.
But then wouldn't that set on fire if it's... I don't know. I'm just absolutely total guess balling what a rocket is made out of.
Interestingly, and it's not something that I'd thought about, but does make sense. It says that there is a United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, and they have an outer space treaty that everyone has signed saying that whoever launches something into space is responsible for it right until the very end. So whoever launched it's got to come and get it at some point.
Huh.
So, but I suppose you probably do want an international treaty so people can't just do whatever they want and obliterate stuff in space. But
yeah, that's quite
intriguing, and the photo's really good. If you Google the photo, you can see it. It does look quite kind of weird thing to see on the beach. Anyway,
definitely. There was one more I was going to briefly mention.
Yep.
So this is.
Let me guess.
Go on.
Is there anything to do with a circular shape?
How did you even? I didn't even link this onto you, did I?
It is on there, but it doesn't say what it is. But I just assumed that we might go down that route.
Because I don't think we're going to discuss it next week because we're going to have too much to talk about. It probably needs covering a little bit, so I thought we could briefly mention it. But what? So Ross Coulthart.
Yep. Man of the moment.
So I love his book. I've got it behind me.
I've got it as well.
But recently, I don't know what's going on. It's like you're just getting more and more outlandish. I don't know what it seems to be going down that way, and I don't know what to think about it.
Is it like what happens with lots of things that there is a requirement that if you're going to stay relevant, that you have to continue posting new content as such. Whether that content is less or more likely to be the truth is open to interpretation. But you can dangle little carrots every now and again to keep yourself in the media headline. And like you say, Ross Coulthart has got a decent career behind him. But
I used to love seeing what he was going to be on, listen to his interviews on podcasts and his own podcasts that Need to Know.
Yeah.
But now when I see his name, I'm like, what? I'm like, what's this going to be now? Like, what? Because he obviously did the David Grush interview.
Yeah.
With that, and Then he kind of appeared to change his mind a little bit, and then on David Gush and the claims.
Yeah.
And then now he's got this claim that basically a non-human craft is hidden beneath a purpose-built because they couldn't move it, so they built up a big building around this crashed spaceship, and he knows where it is, but he can't tell us. So whether it's going off his sources and just putting it out, but he says it like in a matter of fact way, and like basically, yeah, he knows where this UFO, this crash spaceship is. And the people have found this building in South Korea on Google Earth or whatever. So it's just a big circular object. This could be it, because he said it wasn't in America; it was outside of America. I'm just like, come on, I don't know.
No, you have to wonder why people would put out that kind of information, because it's in my mind, you can't back it up. You can't provide any evidence of it or any proof of what you're saying. So people have either got to accept what you're saying is truth or not. And your only hope is based on your previous interviews that people accept that what you're saying is the truth. But it's a very quick way to lose credibility.
And like I said, I don't know how I think about it, because I'm going on the way where I'm like, I don't want it to be like that with Ross, because I have loved this stuff, and like the last couple of years, it's really come out and smashed it really.
Yeah.
And then this stuff comes out, and then there seems to be more and more a bit like, come on, come out and saying, I know exactly where it is. Like,
tell us. Why wouldn't you tell?
Because you know what people are like. You know what people are going to react, how people are going to react to it, and it's just literally like, say, carrot dangling, and then stepping back. I don't know.
It keeps you in the spotlight for long enough until you can drop that next little bit of nugget of information. I don't know.
Well, like, Grush stuff is very new, so it's like not like he needs to keep himself relevant, because he is still relevant. And then,
and he has been up until the Grush interview as well. It's not like he's just come out of nowhere. He might have to a lot of people, but
it's not
in
like
the community, no.
Uri Geller trying to keep himself relevant,
Fucking hell.
Posting fake videos constantly on Twitter.
I asked him to come on the podcast, and publicly he said no. And somebody called him out and said, "You were quite rude then." I was like, fucking hell.
His Twitter is just...
That was insane, mate. He's got like his purpose-built bloody studio in his house or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, look at this fake video behind me of a UFO.
Yeah, his sort of setup reminds me of Alex Jones, like the full presenting suite and everything like that. That's another interesting character to talk about. Alex Jones. Interdimensional. Blood drinking demons that work with the elites and stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of Patreon stuff.
Yeah, the other side of the podcast.
So yeah, some interesting stories there, Ash. I like that. Bit of weird light entertainment there.
End on a bit of a downer. I guess just, I say no harshness against Ross.
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know how I feel about it. I guess that's the
No, I agree.
I'm trying to get across.
But the question is, and it was one that I heard on Weaponized podcast, which again is one of they're the people very divisive. And Jeremy Corbell asked George Knapp that if he knew everything about what was going on, like if we had crashed, recovered the craft, all that, everything, if you knew the truth, would you tell people? And George Knapp was like, I don't know if I would.
I
It's interesting because if you knew everything, how would you even start to get it out there? Because you come straight out and say, I know everything there is about UFOs and aliens. And
like this guy on UAP Max website.
Yeah, because you're going to get called out. People will not believe it. And then you can go on, you used to be able to go on Twitter and like unpublish a tweet, and then down the line you could publish it and it'd still be on the original date. So you could make loads of predictions of score lines of football games, for example, and say, look, I said about this 2 years ago, something like that. So it's a crazy world we live in, Ash, and these weird stories make it even more interesting, I think.
It does. It does. This weird world. Weird people.
And let's see what happens the next couple of weeks. It might be about to get even more weirder.
I mean, maybe it's all true. Maybe we do find out where this spaceship or the building built around it, and the Ganzi are here and are going to kill us all if we mess with them.
Who knows?
We shall find out next week.
It's just as likely as anything else, I suppose. Cool. A nice one. That was always going to be an interesting episode, so I hope everybody found that as amusing as we did, and lighthearted for what is going to be some serious conversations coming up.
Yep, definitely.
Cool. Speak to you soon, Ash.
See you later.
Pursuit of the Paranormal with Ash and Greg.